Hello. Have you ever considered that the simple bowl of white rice you eat every day, a food so common, it's almost invisible, might be the main culprit behind the illnesses that ail us? This is something your doctor will likely never tell you up front. It might even be an unwelcome truth they are trying to hide. My name is Dr. Julian Vance, and I am 88 years old this year. For 64 of those years, I have been a physician, dedicating my life to treating patients and researching the foundations of human health. In that time, I have witnessed countless heartbreaking realities. I have seen so many people search for answers in expensive supplements and specialized treatments, desperately trying to reclaim their health. Yet, most of them never once consider that the problem might lie in the most fundamental part of their diet, the rice on their plate. What I am about to share with you today might create significant ripples, perhaps even waves, in certain medical communities and the food industry. But I can no longer remain silent. I cannot stand by while, at this very moment, millions of people are unknowingly harming their health with every meal. And so today, I am putting my professional integrity on the line. I am going to reveal the long-hidden truths about rice and teach you exactly how to transform this potential poison into a life-giving medicine. It is my sincere hope that my words today will become a small beacon of light on your path to a healthier life. And if you find value in our conversation, I would be deeply grateful if you would gently press the subscribe button once to join our community. When I was a young doctor, just starting out in the hospital, the idea of scrutinizing rice was the furthest thing from my mind. In fact, it was a non-topic among my peers. Like every other physician at the time, when I met patients suffering from diabetes or high blood pressure, my response was textbook: prescribe medication and provide general advice on diet management. It was a simple, unquestioned protocol. But there is one patient from those years whom I can never forget. His name was Arthur Miller. He was a retired high school history teacher, just a little over 60. After a lifetime of service in education, he came to my office with a look of deep concern. His blood sugar had suddenly skyrocketed, and his cholesterol levels had climbed to a dangerous, alarming, new high. We started him on medication, but his body grew heavier, more sluggish. He would come in for his checkups, sighing deeply, as he described a growing numbness in his toes, a telltale sign of worsening circulation. I would review his food diary, and there was nothing that stood out. He wasn't eating greasy foods or overly spicy meals. He lived alone, he told me, and his habit was to cook a large pot of rice at once, freeze it in portions, and then reheat it in the microwave for his meals. At the time, I had no idea how dangerous that simple, convenient habit was. I was stumped. Why weren't the medications working? Why wasn't the fundamental problem being solved? Every time I looked into Mr. Miller's weary, questioning eyes, I felt a weight settle in my own heart. It was a feeling of inadequacy, of helplessness. All I could do was apologize and increase his dosage, a response that felt more like a surrender than a solution. Perhaps it was that profound sense of failure and regret that shaped the doctor I am today. Ultimately, Mr. Miller's health continued to decline. He suffered from numerous complications for years, and eventually, he passed away. His departure from this world was not just the loss of a patient, it was a profound shock to my system, a catalyst that plunged me into a deep well of questioning. What was modern medicine missing? Where was the true path to healing for my patients? Driven by a feeling akin to atonement, I began a relentless investigation. I started gathering every research paper, every clinical study, every dissertation from around the world that touched upon the relationship between rice and health. I became obsessed. I sacrificed sleep, reading late into the night, my desk piled high with documents. For several years, I immersed myself in this singular pursuit, and then, finally, I had a breakthrough. It was a realization so simple, so fundamental, that it was staggering. The undeniable truth was this: depending on how we prepare and consume it, the very same rice can become a medicine that heals or a poison that sickens. The research was clear. Specific methods of preparing rice had a tremendously positive impact on blood sugar regulation and the mitigation of chronic inflammation, an impact that far exceeded anything I could have imagined. This is it. I remember thinking, a wave of electrifying clarity washing over me. The answer was here all along. So simple that everyone overlooked it. I can still feel the thrill of that moment, the feeling that I had finally found the key I had been searching for ever since Mr. Miller first walked into my office. Of course, when I first started sharing these findings, people were skeptical. My colleagues, my patients, many of them looked at me with doubt. But for those who were willing to try, for those who consistently applied these methods, astonishing changes began to happen. Their health began to transform before my very eyes. The secrets I am about to share with you today are so simple that you might find them hard to believe. But please understand, this isn't just a list of tips. This is a roadmap, a collection of crucial clues that can fundamentally change the entire course of your life for the better. I implore you to listen until the very end, to grasp the full context, and to apply these principles in your own life. But before we delve into the core secrets, I must make one important request. The methods I am about to share will undoubtedly be of great help to your health. However, if you only watch half of this video and try to imitate these techniques based on incomplete information, you could inadvertently achieve the opposite result and cause harm. Therefore, it is critically important that you listen carefully to my entire message today and practice these methods correctly. This is information for your precious health. So please, take a moment to subscribe and press the like button. Your support gives me the strength to continue preparing more beneficial content in the future. Now, let us begin. Here is the first secret to transforming poisonous rice into life-giving medicine. Secret it, the art of properly soaking your rice. The first secret lies in a step that many people, in their rush to get dinner on the table, treat as an afterthought, or skip entirely. Properly soaking the rice. It's common practice to give the rice a quick rinse, add water, and immediately press the start button on the rice cooker. But I am here to tell you that how you soak your rice, and for how long, can dramatically alter not only its nutritional value, but its very effect on your body. Within the outer layer of a rice grain, there are trace amounts of a compound called phytic acid. You can think of phytic acid as a natural defense mechanism for the grain. However, inside our bodies, it acts as an anti-nutrient. It binds to essential minerals in your digestive tract, minerals like calcium, zinc, and iron, and prevents them from being absorbed. It essentially locks them away so your body can't use them. By soaking rice thoroughly for at least 30 minutes, and ideally for an hour, you significantly reduce the activity of this phytic acid. The simple act of soaking unlocks the door, allowing your body to absorb far more of these vital minerals from your entire meal. But the benefits don't stop there. Rice that has been properly soaked is also significantly easier to digest. The water penetrates deep into the grain, softening it from the inside out. This makes a world of difference, especially for older individuals or anyone with a sensitive stomach or weak digestive function. For them, this small change can be the deciding factor between a comfortable, pleasant meal and an evening of bloating and discomfort. I recall a lovely patient of mine, a 72-year-old woman named Eleanor Vance. She had been complaining for years about a constant feeling of heaviness and indigestion after every meal. She felt like food just sat in her stomach like a rock. I suggested she try just one thing: soak her rice for a full hour before cooking. A month later, she returned to my office with a bright smile. She was overjoyed, telling me that the uncomfortable feeling was almost completely gone. She was so grateful for such a simple, life-changing piece of advice. So, how do you practice this at home? It's incredibly easy. After washing your rice thoroughly a few times, simply let it soak in lukewarm water for at least 30 minutes to an hour before you plan to start cooking. This allows the moisture to be absorbed evenly, resulting in rice that is not only healthier and easier to digest, but also has a much softer, more pleasant texture. Now, a crucial word of caution during hot summer months. You must be careful not to soak the rice for too long at room temperature. If left for many hours, there's a risk of it spoiling or bacteria beginning to grow. As a general rule, try not to exceed 3 hours of soaking time. Think about your own routine. How long do you typically soak your rice? Please remember this: a single, seemingly minor habit can be the catalyst for a major change in your health. Secret 2. The magic spoonful of natural vinegar. Our second secret involves adding one very special spoonful to your rice cooker. The hero of this secret is something you likely already have in your kitchen: natural fermented vinegar. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Vinegar in my rice. Won't that make it taste sour or strange? I assure you, it absolutely does not. In fact, a single spoonful of vinegar can bring about a host of surprising and wonderful changes for your health. Vinegar contains a primary active component called acetic acid. This remarkable compound works to naturally slow down the rate at which carbohydrates, the starches in the rice, are digested and absorbed into your bloodstream. It acts as a natural brake pedal for digestion. Thanks to this, it helps prevent the dramatic roller coaster, like spikes in blood sugar, that often occur after a carbohydrate-rich meal. It serves as a brilliant natural shield for your body. This isn't just folk wisdom, it's backed by science. A study conducted at the prestigious Johns Hopkins University found that adding vinegar when cooking rice can lower its glycemic index by as much as 31% for anyone with diabetes, or for whom blood sugar management is a daily concern. This is truly fantastic news. I have a dear, longtime friend and former patient, Patricia Jennings, who is 67. She was diagnosed as pre-diabetic and was so shocked and worried that she couldn't sleep at night. Her mind was racing with fears about the future. I told her about this simple vinegar trick. Following my advice, she began adding just 1 spoonful of vinegar every single time she made rice. Within just 2 to 3 months, she experienced a visible and measurable stabilization in her fasting blood sugar levels. You cannot imagine her relief and joy. The method is incredibly simple. Prepare your rice in the cooker as you normally would, with the usual amount of water. Then, just before you close the lid, add 1 single spoonful of a natural fermented vinegar, such as white rice vinegar or apple cider vinegar. That's it. The key here, and this is very important, is that you must use a natural fermented vinegar. Common synthetic vinegars will not provide these health benefits and could, in fact, irritate your stomach. Please avoid them. If you have a sensitive stomach, you might want to start with just half a spoonful and see how your body responds, gradually increasing the amount as you feel comfortable. It's a simple adjustment that can have a profound impact on your metabolic health. Secret 3. The golden ratio for adding barley. The third life-giving secret I want to share with you is the intelligent use of barley, mixed with your rice in a golden ratio. Many of you have probably heard that barley is a superfood and is good for your health. That much is widely known. However, what most people don't know is that the effectiveness of barley can change dramatically depending on how much you use and how you prepare it. Barley is packed with a very special type of soluble dietary fiber called beta-glucan. When beta-glucan enters your body, it acts like a microscopic sponge. It travels through your circulatory system and soaks up LDL, the bad cholesterol that can accumulate in your blood vessels. It then helps to escort this cholesterol out of your body. In essence, it helps to clean your arteries, promoting smoother, healthier blood circulation. But that's not all. Beta-glucan also naturally slows down the speed at which food travels from your stomach to your small intestine. This provides a double benefit. It not only helps you feel full for longer, but it also effectively prevents the rapid rise in blood sugar after a meal. Research from the University of Tokyo's Faculty of Medicine has produced some astonishing results. The study showed that mixing an appropriate amount of barley with white rice can slow down the rate of blood sugar increase by up to 43%. Let me tell you about George Peterson, a 75-year-old gentleman who was deeply worried about his high cholesterol and early diabetic symptoms. On my recommendation, he began to consistently mix a small amount of barley, about 5 to 7%, into his rice at every meal. After about 3 months, he went back for a checkup. Not only had his concerning cholesterol levels improved markedly, but his blood sugar had also entered a stable, healthy range. I will never forget the look on his face when he came to tell me the news. He was beaming with the pure joy of a child. So, what is this golden ratio? When you cook barley rice at home, The ideal proportion is to mix 1 to 1.5 tablespoons of barley for every 1 cup, approximately 150 grams of white rice. By weight, this means the barley should make up about 5% to 7% of the total grain. A word of caution is needed here. Even though barley is incredibly healthy, adding too much can backfire. An excess of this fiber-rich grain can lead to digestive issues like bloating, gas, and general discomfort. With all foods, please remember the old adage, too much of a good thing can be a bad thing. Furthermore, if you have pre-existing kidney problems, the higher mineral content in barley could be a concern. It is essential that you consult with your physician before making it a regular part of your diet. How are you currently using the amazing power of barley? This simple addition could be a game changer for your cardiovascular and metabolic health. Secret Fire. The golden spice. A pinch of turmeric. Our fourth secret for creating life-giving rice involves a golden-colored spice that is very familiar to all of us, turmeric. While most people know it as the main ingredient in curry, many are unaware of the incredible role this spice can play on our dinner table. Acting almost like a form of natural insulin, the core active compound in turmeric is a polyphenol called curcumin. Curcumin is famous for its potent antioxidant and powerful anti-inflammatory effects within the body, but its benefits go even further. Particularly for those who struggle with blood sugar regulation, it can be a tremendous help in improving insulin resistance. To put it simply, insulin resistance is a state where the body's cells don't respond properly to the hormone insulin, which is responsible for lowering blood sugar. The curcumin in turmeric helps to reactivate this cellular response, making your body's own insulin more effective. Consider this. A long-term, 10-year follow-up study conducted by Japan's National Institute of Health and Nutrition found that the group that consistently consumed curcumin had an average of 23% lower insulin resistance compared to the group that did not. This level of effectiveness is significant and rivals the effects of some oral medications for type 2 diabetes. One of my most memorable cases was a 69-year-old woman named Maria Sanchez. She had been suffering from complications of long-term diabetes for years. After careful consultation with her primary care physician, she decided to add turmeric rice to her daily diet. The results were astounding. After consistently practicing this, her ability to regulate her blood sugar improved so dramatically that she was eventually able to reduce the dosage of her medication. She was absolutely thrilled and felt a renewed sense of control over her health. Making turmeric rice is wonderfully simple. Once your rice is cooked and still warm, simply sprinkle a small pinch, or about half a teaspoon of turmeric powder over it, and mix it in evenly. If you find the unique, earthy aroma of turmeric a bit strong or overwhelming at first, start with a very small amount and gradually increase it as you get accustomed to the taste. A critical point, however, please use pure turmeric powder. The curry powder sold in most stores contains many other additives and will not be as effective. Also, if you have any gallbladder-related conditions or are currently taking specific long-term medications, it is absolutely essential to consult with your doctor before adding turmeric to your diet. Secret Femme. The cool-down method for resistant starch. We have now arrived at our final, fifth secret. This method involves adding one simple yet decisive step to the rice cooking process. It's a technique that can transform ordinary rice into a medicinal food that revitalizes your body from the inside out. The secret is this: let your rice cool down completely, and then gently reheat it before eating. I know this might sound a bit cumbersome at first, but once you understand the incredible health benefits, I am confident you will never look at a bowl of rice the same way again. When you take freshly cooked, steaming hot rice and allow it to cool at room temperature for about 30 minutes to an hour, a very special transformation begins to occur within the starch structure of the rice grains. A beneficial type of carbohydrate, known as resistant starch, is naturally created. This resistant starch is completely different from regular starch. It resists digestion in the stomach and small intestine. Instead of being broken down and absorbed quickly, it travels all the way down to the large intestine. Because of this, it has a very gentle, minimal effect on your post-meal blood sugar levels. But its most incredible role is that it becomes the perfect food, a prebiotic for the trillions of beneficial bacteria living in your gut. By feeding these friendly microbes, you help them thrive and multiply. This azalder, in turn, creates a healthy gut environment, which is the cornerstone of a strong immune system and overall bodily health. The science on this is compelling. Research published by the prestigious University of Oxford revealed that when rice is cooled and then reheated, its resistant starch content can increase by as much as 18%. Isn't that amazing? I think of David Chen, a 74-year-old man who had suffered for years from chronic constipation and the unpredictable pain of irritable bowel syndrome (IBS. His life was dictated by his digestive system. After he started eating rice prepared with this cooling method, he said his intestinal function became so calm and regular that it was almost unrecognizable. He told me that for years, his morning trip to the bathroom felt like a dreaded chore. Now, he said with a bright smile, it's just a natural, easy part of my day. The youthful glow in his eyes as he described this simple freedom is a memory I cherish. To practice this at home, simply open the lid of your rice cooker after the rice is done and let it cool down completely for 30 to 60 minutes. Then, just before you're ready to eat, reheat it very gently. The goal is not to make it steaming hot again, but just to warm it to a pleasant, lukewarm temperature. However, there is a very, very important warning here. You must never leave fully cooled rice at room temperature for too long, especially in hot weather. After 3 or 4 hours, you run the risk of harmful bacteria, like Bacillus cereus, beginning to grow, which can cause food poisoning. So, please be extremely careful. Cooled rice should either be eaten shortly after cooling or stored properly in the refrigerator and consumed within a day or two. This is the safest and healthiest way to enjoy the benefits of resistant starch. So, what kind of rice, prepared with what kind of care, will you put on your dinner table tonight? You can and should expect amazing changes from these small, deliberate practices. A final word from my heart. How did these 5 secrets, which I have prepared with great care based on decades of experience and research, resonate with you? Perhaps, because the methods are so simple and humble, some of you may still feel a bit skeptical. You might be wondering, can such small changes really have such a big impact on my health? But I urge you to remember this one fundamental truth. Our bodies are incredibly honest and sensitive. They respond to even the smallest changes in our daily habits in ways that are far more profound than we often realize. And it is never too late to start. In fact, today can be the very first step in making the rest of your life healthier, more vibrant, and more full of energy. I believe this with all my heart. Let's quickly and concisely review the core lessons we've shared today. First, the importance of soaking rice sufficiently and correctly. Second, don't forget to add that single spoonful of natural fermented vinegar when you cook it. Third, mix in healthy and delicious barley, aiming for that golden ratio of 5 to 7%. Fourth, add a small pinch of pure turmeric to your warm, cooked rice. And fifth, the wisdom of cooling your rice and gently reheating it to maximize its body-friendly resistant starch. Every one of these 5 methods is a worthwhile investment in your precious health, and none of them require any grand or special effort. Starting today, why not choose just one? Pick the one that seems most achievable for you and give it a try. I firmly believe that this one small habit will soon bring about a wonderfully pleasant and surprising change in your body. And one more thing. When you prepare and eat your meals, always try to do so with a heart full of gratitude. Remember that the mindset with which we approach our food can change the very effect that food has on our bodies. In our next conversation, I plan to delve deeper into a topic we couldn't cover today: the secrets of very special ingredients that can help to effectively quell the chronic inflammation inside our bodies, and how to best use them. I will return with more profound and beneficial information for you. If my words today have been of some help to you, if they have resonated within your heart, I would be so grateful if you would subscribe to our community and give this video a thumbs up. And please, share this information with your precious family and friends who you feel might need it. The healthy life of each individual is what builds a happy future for us all. I am sincerely cheering for you on your journey to a healthy 100-year life. Until next time, this has been Dr. Ev Yu. Julian Vance, thank you for your valuable time.